the gates and ready to go. Welcome into this live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chat Sports. I am your fearless leader, Tyler Jones, here with you. Happy to have you with us. We got a big show ahead as we will get to the latest news and rumors on your Kansas City Chiefs, as we have an update to the schedule that is going to be officially released tomorrow. We already know a couple of the matchups. We'll tell you what those are coming up in our first segment. In segment 2, we're going to go over off-season grades. Brett Veach did it again, ladies and gentlemen. A fantastic off-season for Brett Veach. We'll recap that all. And also, speaking of the off-season, we are going to talk about one of the newest members of the Kansas City Chiefs today, Brashard Smith. We're going to get to know him a little bit further and do an in-depth segment on him, and then we'll do a Q&A Rumors mailbag to end today's show. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the program. As you guys file in, shout out your city. We'll shout you out as we get the show off and rolling. We're coming at you from the Chat Sports Studios here in downtown Dallas, Texas on this very fine Tuesday afternoon. Let us know where you guys are at. I got Paul checking in from Tonganoxie. Tony is in El Paso. I got Lisa in Parsons, Kansas. Loren is in St. Joe, the home of Chiefs training camp. I see Tony already asking workout questions for Big Tex. We'll bring Big Tex here in just a bit. Let us know. Let us know where you guys are at. And we got David in Nashville, Tennessee. I love Nashville. I was telling somebody the other day, Nashville's like my fifth home at this point. My homes, they go in this order, folks. Tulsa, Oklahoma will always be my home. And then Lawrence/Kansas City is like my second home. That's where I feel like I grew up, going to college and my first professional job there in Lawrence and in the Kansas City area. That's number 2 for me. Dallas, where I live now, is probably number 3. Phoenix is 4th. I spend a lot of time in Phoenix throughout the year. I'll be there in July. And then Nashville's probably my 5th home, the place I enjoy visiting more than any other place in the country. Let us know where you guys are at. Gingerbread Man, he's the Seahawks fan, but he's still hanging out with us here in the Chiefs Report today. He's checking in from Kitsap, Washington. I got Ruben in Orange Cove, California, in Central California. Tony says, I'm moving in June, Tyler. You're moving to San Antonio, right? Tony, don't become a Spurs fan on us. You got to be rooting on the Thunder, all right? Can't have you becoming a Spurs fan. What has been your favorite Chiefs offseason move? Whether it's a signing or a trade or a player that was drafted, what was your favorite move the Chiefs made this offseason? If you had to pick one, what would it be and why? Tell us in the chat right now. I got JJ checking in from Hillsboro, Oregon. Good to see you, JJ. Thanks for being here. Favorite move of the Chiefs offseason, what would it be? Very curious what you guys think. I think my favorite move, there's so many to choose from, in all honesty. This is not easy, but I got to say my favorite move that the Chiefs made this offseason probably is drafting Josh Simmons and getting some help. Well, that's up to – actually, I take that back. I'll go with franchise tagging Trey Smith because it seemed impossible at one point that he was going to return. And yet they found a way to bring him back, and they're working on a long-term deal. I'll go with Trey Smith as my answer. Loren says the whole draft. David says definitely the draft. Gingerbread Man says moving on from Tyreek Hill. That was about 3 years ago now, but hey, I would say it worked out for the Kansas City Chiefs. They won 2 Super Bowls after he left. Tony says Jalen Royals in the draft. Paul says Jalen Royals. Flip says... Now, Flip has one-up Gingerbread Man as far as old offseason moves goes. Flip says drafting Mahomes. That was a while ago. But it was a good one. It was a good pick. They traded up to get him. Tony says second favorite move. Chiefs traded for Jalen Moore. They did not trade for him. They signed him in free agency, Tony. Loren going way back. Moving on from Trent Green. All right, folks, let's keep it current here. I have a good laugh at some of the stuff you guys are saying, but we're talking about right now. Maybe I should have specified that when I asked the question in the beginning of the show. Big Tex is here on the ones and twos. I already got Tony asking Big Tex when it comes to cardio bike ride, should I still warm up? We'll bring in Big Tex to answer that question and give out some shout-outs here in just a moment as he joins me. And he'll be my tag team partner, as you'll hear from the rest of today's show when we get to our news and rumors and when we talk about off-season grades. And then we'll also have the Brashard Smith segment and a Q&A mailbag. Big Tex, first off, welcome. Secondly, the question coming in from Tony there. Warming up before a bike ride on cardio, yes or no? Is it necessary?
Great question, Tony. I would say yes.
What type of warm-up?
Great question as well. To answer both of your questions, his / yours, because it's the same thing. You need to warm up. I would say if you have access to a Stairmaster, try to do that because it gets your hips in a nice fluid motion, opens your hips up a little bit. Hips don't lie. That's right. As somebody who's struggled with hip tightness in the past, I promise you want to open your hips up. So do that, some dynamic stretching, some foam rolling. I know it sounds like a lot, but if you're going to go heavy on the bike, maybe do at least a combination of those things, or at least just swing the legs or get some kind of motion going, man. But yeah, I would say more long-term static stretching after, more dynamic before.
Okay, there you go. If you'd like a shout out from Big Tex, I need you to spam C in the chat. This will help out the algorithm. I've already got 40 people in the building. I want more people here talking Chiefs football, hanging out here with us. This will help the algorithm, let people know we're here, that we're live. So go ahead and start spamming C in the chat. I want to see as many C's as we can over this next minute. And Tex is going to shout them out. I know he's going to be showing some love to Tony and Abigail probably here in just a few moments. Let's get the C's going. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Paul, Loren, Paul, Tim. What's up, Tim? Tony, did you get your workout in? Paul, Loren, Tony, Paul, Flip. There's a new name. Here, I'm going to do something real quick. You guys need to spam C more. I'm going to speed it up. There we go. Loren.
Let's get some new names.
Flip. Exactly. Tim, Loren, Flip, Tim, Paul, Loren, David. That's not C, but that's okay. Good try. Paul, Flip, Loren, Tim, Paul, Flip, Tony, Paul, Tim. I'm only seeing 4 people. Let's go. Gary, there we go. Flip, Tim, Tony, Jay. There's a new name. Paul, Flip, Tony, Tim. Flip, Paul, Tony are the only ones holding down the fort. Let's go. Spam C. Let's go. Flip, Tim, Flip, Tony, Paul. Come on, man.
10 more seconds. Let's get some new names.
Flip, Tony, Tim, Tony, Flip, Tony, David. There we go. Gary, Flip. Good stuff. Jeez.
I saw Paul in there a lot. So Tony, Tim, Flip. Appreciate y'all for doing that. I saw Gary showing up, and this may surprise some people, but when I saw Gary, my first thought was the old CBS show Gary Unmarried with Jay Moore. Does anybody remember the Gary Unmarried show with Jay Moore on CBS back in the day? I think Gary was a key part of that show many years ago. Big Tex, you need some help, I hear, for this mailbag segment in the show. How can people help you?
So I'm going to put it in the chat right now. But if you use hashtag Chiefs and ask a question with a space between the hashtag Chiefs together, space, and then your question.
Like David is asking about Denver. David.
Ask the question.
Take that same question, use hashtag Chiefs, and we can put it in the mailbag.
Exactly.
Hashtag Chiefs Super Chat to get your questions in our mailbag segment. And there's Tony.
There we go.
Talking about the schedule.
Good job, Tony.
Tony, and that's a good point. Tony, that's good enough to make the mailbag today. Based on what I've seen there, talking about the schedule. That will work, Tony. Be like Tony and get your question in. Gary, you put hashtag Chiefs, but I don't see any other question or anything there. Gary, try again.
There, Gary, but we need a question from you, buddy.
It's got to be in the same comment. It's got to be hashtag Chiefs, then space, whatever you want to write.
Right, because I see his hashtag Chiefs, but it's blank after that. We need your question, buddy.
It's got to be all one thing together. So, hashtag Chiefs for Super Chat. Gingerbread Man with a Super Chat. We haven't even got the Super Chat menu yet. But let's make sure you guys like the video real quick. We're at 12 likes right now. I need 25 to start today's show. And then I will open up a cold White Claw, hard seltzer. We're going peach today. I wanted to enjoy myself. I wanted to have a nice cold beverage and something that I can enjoy that was different than just a Miller Lite. We're at 14 likes. When we get to 25, then we will be good enough to start today's show. When you like the video, type me in the chat, and then we will shout you out. There we go. I see Loren and David and Gary getting their questions in the mailbag. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. 16 likes right now. I need 25, and then we can get this show started. 17 now. We need 8 more. Type me in the chat when you like the video. I see Paul liked it. Flip liked it. Tony saying, you know me. Hey, I can always count on you, Tony. Tony's a real one. Appreciate that, Tony. 18. Let's get to 25. David liked it. Tony liked it. We need, what is that, 7 more? 7 more. I never claimed to be a math guy, but I can count. 7 more, then we'll get to 25. And then we can start today's show. There we go. We're at 20 now. 5 more. I see Gary liked it. Flip liked it. Who else? Who else? Need 5 more, then we'll be at 25, and we can get this show started. Put us over the top. Hit that like button. I see Keith liked it as well. 21. 4 more. 4 more, then we get today's show started. I'm not doing anything else. We're not going any further until we get to 25 likes. Simple as that. Just hit that like button, and we can get started here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report as we have a fantastic show ahead coming up in just a few moments. Loren liked the video, too. Thank you, Loren. 4 more. 4 more. That's all I need. 4 more likes, and we can get this thing started. Paul liked the video. Thank you, Paul. Who's going to be our lucky 4? The Fab 4. 3 away. Canvas liked it. Thank you, Canvas. Flip as well. Gary is also. Gary Unmarried liking the video. I think I'm just going to have to call you that now, Gary. Gary Unmarried. Shout out Jay Moore. Tim, we will have a video tomorrow with the schedule. We'll have a video once we get the schedule, whether it's leaked early or whether it comes on time. We'll have a video breaking down the schedule when it gets released tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. 1 more. Oh, somebody unliked it. You coward. You fool. I need 2 more now. I need 2 more likes to get to 25 when we can start today's show. Who's going to help us out? Now we need 1 more. 1 more, that'll put us at 25. 1 more, and I'll crack open the White Claw, and we'll get today's show started. More people have joined us, so that certainly helps out. It's working, folks, with you guys liking the video here. 1 more. 1 away. 1 away from 25, and we can get going here. Flip liked it. Paul did. 1 more. Why are you guys making me wait? We don't have all day today. I need 1 more, then we can get this show started. That's all we need. We've been sitting on 1 for a minute. I don't know what the holdup is. 1 more, and then we can start. There we go. There's 25 likes. Man, it took you guys a while there. Goodness. Cheers. There we go. All right, Gingerbread Man with a $5 super chat. We haven't got to the super chat menu yet, and Gingerbread Man's already super chatting us. Could this be a regression year after getting your pee-pee smacked in the Super Bowl? That's a question that'll work in the mailbag too, by the way. Gingerbread Man, I don't think so. I think this Chiefs team is better than what it was in last year's Super Bowl. They've made improvements to the offensive line. The defense has gotten better. I think this Chiefs team is better than last year. I think they're still the favorites to win the whole thing in 2025. So I do not expect regression. The Super Bowl was not pleasant. It was ugly, but that doesn't define this team. I think they move forward from here, and they'll be in good shape. Cheers to you, Gingerbread Man. Go Chiefs. Thanks for sending that super chat. If you want to be like Gingerbread Man, send in a super chat. First time super chat is get the KC chant. $5, do a beer cheers. $10, take some shots. $20, get being boozled. $50, we'll do a beer bong. $sign next to the chat box if you would like to contribute and take part in today's show. Without further ado, let's tell you what's ahead here on the Chiefs Report, and then we'll get this thing officially started. In our first segment, we'll go over the latest news and rumors on your Kansas City Chiefs as we have some information on the schedule. Also, we'll do off-season grades as Brett Veach has done it again, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go over every single move the Chiefs have made here this offseason. Also, speaking of moves, we're going to get the chance to get to know Brashard Smith, one of the newest running backs of the Kansas City Chiefs, the 7th-round draft pick out of SMU. And then we'll wrap up with a Q&A rumors mailbag. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing started. Segment numero uno, our news and rumors. As the Chiefs get some great news from the NFL. We'll talk about that and more as we get this show started here on this live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Thanks for hanging out here with us. Let's go ahead and get started with our first segment beginning right now. You're watching the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chat Sports. I am your fearless leader, Tyler Jones, here with you. Thanks for joining us. The Kansas City Chiefs got some great news from the National Football League as we await the official 2025 schedule release. And of what we know so far, things are looking very good for the Kansas City Chiefs this year. We'll tell you what we know and also look at the opponents and catch you up to speed with everything you need to know coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, folks, I got a challenge for the Chiefs Kingdom. We are closing in on 72,000 subscribers here at the Kansas City Chiefs Report. We are just a little over 150 away from reaching that next milestone. We're bringing you our daily news and rumors. We got live shows each and every Tuesday, breaking news, Q&A mailbags. We're covering every single move your Kansas City Chiefs make throughout the offseason, as there is no offseason here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Subscribe now for free. Stay up to date with everything happening on your favorite team. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did. We'll get started with today's show. The primetime Chiefs are back, folks. We know the times and the opponents for two different Chiefs games in 2025. Now, we've already known the opponents for a while of who the Chiefs have been facing, but now we've been patiently awaiting to see how that schedule will ultimately stack up for Kansas City this upcoming season. Here's what we know so far. The Chiefs will open up the season on the Friday of opening weekend. You'll have the opening game on Thursday night and then the Friday night exclusive on YouTube between the Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers. That game will be played in Brazil at 7:15 Central Time on September 5th. We also know the Chiefs will host the Denver Broncos in a AFC West divisional contest on Christmas. That game will be the final of the 3 Christmas games that will be played, and that can be seen at 7:15 Central Time on Amazon Prime Video. The Kansas City Chiefs in 2024, they were the most watched team of any organization in the National Football League. All eyeballs were on the Kansas City Chiefs, far more than even teams like the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, and among others here. They have become must-see TV, not just for the Chiefs Kingdom, but across the National Football League. And to put it in the simplest of terms, as the kids would say, this team is box office. People love to watch them, and then you got a crowd of folks that hate watch the Chiefs as well, and that's okay as well. I'd rather be hated than be ignored. And I think that's kind of the mantra the Chiefs have taken on with how they're viewed in league circles. And the Chiefs are getting rewarded for it. When we see the full schedule get released tomorrow, you're going to see that this team is going to play in the maximum allotted primetime windows that they can be rewarded with. They'll have plenty of games that'll be in the late afternoon time slots as well that most of the country will see on Fox and CBS. So not only have they played well and turned this thing into a dynasty, they are must-see TV for everybody out there. Now, of these two matchups that we know, here's a couple of interesting notes. The game against the LA Chargers that they'll play in Brazil, they are not losing a home game for that matchup against LA. That is the Chargers' home game. So although It's a neutral site matchup. The Chargers will be the home team. So that's very good news for the Kansas City Chiefs that they're not going to play one less game at Arrowhead Stadium. They're not going to lose out on that ticket revenue. It is not going to be a situation where Chiefs fans aren't going to be able to attend another home game because they're playing that game in Brazil. So that's a very good thing. Meanwhile, the Christmas tradition that the Chiefs have made it known that they would like to have, they have told the NFL that they would like to own Christmas and play on Christmas every year. We heard reports a few weeks ago that the NFL denied the Chiefs' request to have an annual game on Christmas. But contrary to that, at least right now, the Christmas tradition is going to roll on. It will be a Merry Chiefsmas for all, and hopefully all a good night with the Chiefs win over the Denver Broncos, and that will be a home game. And I like that in the evening window because let's say that you got plans with your family, you want to open up presents in the morning, maybe you want to have a little lunch with the family. You can still do all the Christmas activities on Christmas Day and on Christmas Eve, and then make your way over to Arrowhead for that primetime matchup at Arrowhead Stadium. To me, I think that's a win-win, a perfect storm for the Kansas City Chiefs. Of what we know of the Chiefs' schedule so far, do you like it? Do you like the idea of playing on a Friday night on YouTube in Brazil and a Christmas game in the evening in prime time at home on Amazon Prime Video? Sound off and let us know in our pinned comment today. Why for yes, in for no. Chime in the comment section and tell me what you think. Now, let's be frank about this. As the Chiefs are building this thing, it's not just about the wins along the way. This is about building for their future and establishing a culture and a fan base, not just in the Chiefs' kingdom, but around the world. And to have these showcases of playing on an international stage or a holiday game, this is exactly what the Kansas City Chiefs want for their organization going forward. Clark Hunt, not too long ago, he was talking about how he views the Kansas City Chiefs and what he sees for this organization into the future. And although the Dallas Cowboys have taken on the mantra of being America's team, Clark Hunt isn't looking to supplant the Dallas Cowboys and take their mantle as America's team. His vision is bigger than that. Clark Hunt has made it known he wants the Chiefs to be the world's team. Here's what Clark Hunt had to say recently on playing the international games, as they'll have this one coming up in Brazil. On playing international games, we're willing to do it whenever the opportunity presents itself. We don't have a lot of control over that, except periodically with whatever the rotation of teams scheduled to play overseas of the league is at, where we can be the home team. We make the league aware every year that we would be delighted to play an international game, whether it's a home team or as an away team. We hope at some point we'll get picked back up. And they did. And for Clark, I got to say this. His father was brilliant. Helped start the AFL. Lamar Hunt is a huge part of the reason why the NFL and the Kansas City Chiefs are who they are today. And Clark has done an incredible job of carrying on his father's legacy and taking this Chiefs team in a direction going forward that's bigger than just the product on the football field. To put it simply, Clark Hunt is a visionary, and he's got big plans for growing this Chiefs brand from here. He said this recently as well. Well, our goal is to be the world's team. That starts with being one of the top teams here in the United States. It's a credit to our players, some of the personalities that we have on the team, and certainly the success we've had the last 6 years. Our TV ratings have been very high whenever we play. We also have some very special fans of Taylor Swift, who is dating Travis Kelce, who helped drive those numbers as well. The Chiefs, they're thinking big picture here, okay? This is about, all right, what can we do to have staying power, to invest in this thing for a very long time, which is pretty impressive for a team that's still playing in a small market in Kansas City. When you look at the rest of the schedule, we'll go over the opponents. It can't be worse than last year. Last year was, as my guy Big Tex would say, damn brutal. Having to play 3 games in, what was it, a 10 or 11-day stretch. They won all those games. And they did get a lot of time off before clinching that number 1 seed and having the first-round bye and everything. But it wasn't easy for the Chiefs to deal with. I don't know what all the matchups and the game times are going to be just yet, but I would have to think that the Chiefs are going to have an easier road than what they did last year. And even with that said, they still won 14 games and clinched the number 1 seed in the AFC last year. Do you believe the Chiefs are the world's team? Are they the world's team? Big picture here. If you agree with Clark Hunt and you think they are, type B for believe. If not, type D for don't. Chime in the comments section. Tell me what you think. Are they the world's team? Weigh in and let us know. Got a great deal we're offering Chiefs fans right now. Rookie jerseys are on sale at chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys. Whether it's Josh Simmons or another rookie you like, we got their jerseys for you. And it's real simple. All you got to do is go to chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys to get yours today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. And if you get Josh Simmons or one of these other rookies, you're going to get the jersey with their number on it. And maybe you don't want a rookie. Maybe you want a guy like Mahomes or Kelsey or somebody else. That same link has all the Chiefs jerseys you could ever want. Go to chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys to get yours today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Let's go over the opponents and what we know the Chiefs' schedule of what it looks like for 2025. You have the home game against the Denver Broncos on December 25th. You also play the Raiders at home, as well as the LA Chargers and the Baltimore Ravens will also be coming back to Kansas City. Chiefs opened the year against the Baltimore Ravens last year. The Detroit Lions make a return visit to Kansas City, the first time since they spoiled the banner celebration a couple of years ago on opening night. And then they also have home games against the Texans. They played the Texans last year just prior to Christmas. The Indianapolis Colts also coming to Kansas City. We get a Super Bowl rematch with the Philadelphia Eagles. I guarantee that is going to be either a Sunday night or Monday night game when that schedule gets released tomorrow, putting that game on the biggest stage. And last time Philadelphia came to Kansas City, they got the best of the Chiefs as Jason Kelsey got to win the last ever matchup against his brother Travis Kelsey. And they'll also have a home matchup against the Washington Commanders as well, as the Chiefs are playing the NFC East teams this year. On the road, you have that game against the Chargers, although that's a neutral site game technically in Brazil. The Chargers will be the home team. You also get the Broncos and the Las Vegas Raiders of your divisional matchups. And then the Buffalo Bills are going to be on the road after going to Buffalo last year. And the Chiefs have not had a ton of success against Buffalo in the regular season in recent memory. You also have a road game against the Dallas Cowboys. I would have to think that's not a bad trip for Chiefs fans to make. A lot of Chiefs fans already within Kansas City or within the state of Texas and Dallas, and not a long trip to KC either. I think that they'll be well represented there. You play the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road, also the New York Giants at MetLife, and then you also get the Tennessee Titans in Nashville. I remember a few years ago, the Chiefs were in a situation they were playing the Minnesota Vikings, and the Vikings kind of took over Arrowhead. Mahomes was injured. Chris Jones wasn't too happy about it. And then a couple weeks later, they played the Tennessee Titans in Nashville, and it all made sense because Chiefs fans sold their Vikings tickets to pay for their trip to Nashville, and that worked out pretty well. This is going to be tough for the Kansas City Chiefs. It'll be easier than last year, but that doesn't mean that it isn't a difficult slate for the Chiefs, which you would expect for a team that's coming off an AFC championship title. They will play 10 total games versus 2024 playoff teams. 8 teams, 10 games, because they'll play the Chargers and the Broncos twice in that mix. I want to know from you guys, what will be the Chiefs' record in 2025? I'll have my official record prediction video coming out later in the week, but want to hear from you guys. Predict the Chiefs' record in 2025. Weigh in, let us know. For continuing Chiefs coverage, subscribe now to the Kansas City Chiefs Report. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. That is one down. 3 more to go. We will do off-season grades here in a moment. We'll also get to know Brashard Smith, and then we'll do a Q&A mailbag as well. Predict the Chiefs' record. Tex, I think that 15 games, because of just how difficult it is of the schedule, is going to be tough to attain. But I don't think winning 14's without the realm of possibility. I think you win 14, you're in all likelihood in good position to get home field advantage in the AFC. I think 14 is very manageable.
Yeah, I think so as well. I was going to say 13 or 14. I think 13 is probably maybe 12, 13 is the floor, and then 14, 15 is the ceiling for me.
I know there's going to be some people. I don't have to name who they are. If you follow Chiefs media closely, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There will be some people out there tomorrow that will tell you the Chiefs are going 17-0. And I will be the first to tell you that is crazy. That is not going to happen. If anybody is telling you the Chiefs are going 17-0 next year, they're telling you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. That's just not happening. Get that out of your head right now. And that's not the goal for the Chiefs. They've made that known in the past. Hey, being undefeated is cool, but that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to win a Super Bowl. We're not focused on trying to go undefeated in the regular season. Super Chat menu. If you guys would like to get involved in today's show, first time Super Chatters get the KC chant. $5, we'll do a beer cheers. $10, take some shots. $20, get Bean Boozled. $50, we will do a beer bong. Up next, off-season grades. How did Brett Veach do this off-season? We will break that down piece by piece with all of the top moves the Kansas City Chiefs made and give our grades as well as our overall grade for the Chiefs offseason coming up in just a bit. That's our second segment. We'll bring that to you coming up in just a bit here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. We'll follow that talking Brashard Smith and then do Q&A rumors mailbag as well. More to come as we continue here on this live edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Offseason grades starts right now. Brett Veach did it again, ladies and gentlemen. He had a fantastic offseason. And on today's show, we are going to recap the top moves the Chiefs made, from trades to free agency, the draft. We'll go over all of it, and we'll give you our grades for each and every big move the Chiefs made. We'll have that for you coming up in just a bit. Before we do, if you guys have been following this show the last couple of weeks, we have told you about this AFC Championship rematch sub-battle that we are doing with Bill's Breakdown. Bill's Breakdown, one of our newest channels here at Chat Sports. Tyler Smith and company running things over there. They want to take us down, and they want Bill's Mafia to stick it to the Chiefs' kingdom. That is not happening on my watch, folks. I need you to stop whatever you're doing and hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on everything happening with your Kansas City Chiefs, from our daily news and rumors to our live shows every Tuesday, breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and more. It's your one-stop shop for all things Chiefs. The most interactive Chiefs channel on YouTube. Doesn't cost you a thing. Subscribe now, youtube.com/ChiefsTV, and we'll get started with today's show. Brett Veach did it again. This guy is a magician, and he was dealt a tough hand entering this offseason with not a ton of cap space, a lot of expiring contracts, and yet the guy still made it work for this Chiefs team in 2025. Based on the decisions that he made and the changes that occurred, I have every reason to think that this team is going to be just as good, if not better, than what they were in 2024, getting to the Super Bowl. Let's go over these moves. We'll start with Trey Smith, the offensive guard. It seemed impossible at one point, the idea of Trey Smith returning to the Kansas City Chiefs. But where there's a Veach, there's a way. And after the news came out, the salary cap was going up much higher than anticipated. They put the franchise tag on Trey Smith for 2025, and he's expected to get a long-term contract and be here for a while. No-brainer decision. And the franchise tag wasn't nearly as high as what the projections were. I think it was a very smart move. I got to go with an A on franchise tagging Trey Smith. Then Nick Bolton. He was also re-signed to a new deal that will keep him in Kansas City to 2027. And it was very fair for the Kansas City Chiefs to pay Nick Bolton that money. They didn't have to break the bank compared to what he could have gotten on the open market. They signed him before free agency officially began. He's one of the best middle linebackers in all of football. You got him locked up for the prime years of his career. Easy call by Brett Veach. I got to go with an A on that as well. Other moves for the Kansas City Chiefs. Joe Thuney was traded. I'll go with a B on the Joe Thuney trade. I think that with Joe Thuney, as much as I love the guy, I understand why he was traded. I wish they could have found a way for him to stay. But as the old adage goes, you'd rather trade a player a year too early than a player a year too late. And Brett Veach said he had no choice. And there was talk about him potentially getting cut. So even though I hated saying goodbye, I understood why. I wish you could have gotten more. So that's why I'll go with a B on the Joe Thuney trade. Hollywood Brown was re-signed. Cheap contract. I know he didn't do a whole lot last year as he was injured most of the season. But to me, that's a solid A to bring back Hollywood Brown. Don't know exactly what his role is going to look like, but you're one injury away from needing a lot out of Hollywood Brown. We'll go with an A there. Jalen Moore at the offensive tackle / offensive guard spot. We don't know for certain what position he will play just yet. Kind of depends on how things go with Kingsley and Josh Simmons. But either way, I would expect that Jalen Moore is going to start in some way, shape, or form. I'm going with an A on him, although there are some hesitations, the fact that he hasn't started a whole lot. But if he performs well, that could look like a major discount compared to other players at his position. Elijah Mitchell, a teammate of Jalen Moore with the San Francisco 49ers. I'll go with a B with his signing. He's had a lot of injury issues, did not play at all in 2024, but you didn't have to pay him a ton of money. He should come in and have a role within this offense. People are saying that it's kind of similar to when they signed Jerick McKinnon a few years ago. I'll go with a B. It's not my favorite signing, but it's one I can live with. Christian Fulton also signed from the LA Chargers. He should compete for one of the starting outside corner roles. He was paid a pretty fair amount. You also get some flexibility now when it comes to Trent McDuffie, potentially moving him to the nickelback spot. You got Noel Williams, Jalen Watson there. This corner room's got depth, and they got some starting caliber pieces. To me, that's an easy A. Shout out Emma Stone. I think it was brilliant on the part of Kansas City. And you made the LA Chargers, one of your division rivals, weaker in the process as well. How would you grade the Chiefs offseason? It's our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let us know. A, B, C, D, or F. Chime in and tell me what your grade would be for the Kansas City Chiefs offseason in 2025. Gardner Minshew signed to be the backup quarterback. I got to go with an A on this. Gardner Minshew has shown that he's more than capable of being a quality backup. And if, God forbid, something happens to Patrick Mahomes, Gardner Minshew is going to be more than ready to step up if his name is called in a game or two situation. I think he's an upgrade from Carson Wentz, and I like the fit. And not to mention, good team guy, not a distraction as your backup quarterback either. Kareem Hunt re-signed. I'll give this a B+. I like Kareem Hunt. I'm glad he's back. I'm very happy that he gets the chance still to go for his first Super Bowl ring. But could you have done better than Kareem Hunt? You didn't spend a whole lot, and he kind of showed some mileage there at the end of the season. With that all said, I'll go B+. Jerry Tillery comes in as a backup defensive lineman. I think he's a good depth piece. You didn't pay him a ton either. I'll go with an A. Juju Smith-Schuster is back. He's re-signed. I'll go with a B on this. I think with Juju, you can expect him to perform well for a game or two, but he has been notorious for lots of mistakes that he makes. He's had some injury issues as well. I think a B is a fair grade, especially since you didn't pay him a ton of money. Mike Pennell will give a grade of an A on his signing. Pennell is a solid piece. You didn't pay a lot for him. You helped that defensive line. Now you got some real depth on the defensive line. I like having Mike Pennell back. And then another one for you. Let's go Charles Omenihu here real quick. $7 million for 1 year. He was hoping to get paid more money elsewhere. Didn't quite work out for Charles Omenihu on the open market like he was hoping for. But Charles Omenihu was a difference maker. Although the stats didn't show a whole lot in 2024, we saw collectively this defense, the pass rushers got a lot better when Charles Omenihu got healthy. I'll give it A for bringing back Omenihu. What was your favorite offseason move made by the Kansas City Chiefs this offseason? If you had to name one thing, What would it be and why? Chime in the comments section. Tell me what you think. Mike Caliendo, the love child of Frank Caliendo, he was re-signed, and you didn't pay him a ton of money. I give an A on this. Caliendo, outside of the Super Bowl, did a really good job stepping in at the left guard spot. I don't expect him to start this season, but he's proven his worth that he can be a very capable backup offensive lineman. Mike Edwards making his return to Kansas City. He was pretty good the 1 year that he was here. He's won 2 Super Bowl titles with the Bucs and the Chiefs. We'll go B+ here because I'm not certain at this age how much he has exactly left in the tank. Let's go to the draft picks now. Josh Simmons, this was an A for a number of reasons. You traded down, you got some draft capital, and still got the player you wanted. You filled a big need, and you got maybe the best offensive lineman in this draft. He had the injury concerns, I understand, but the Chiefs feel like he's going to be just fine. There were some teams that said he had some character issues, and that's why he slid in the draft. But the Chiefs have a way of doing things. And you either got to shit or get off the pot. And I think Josh Simmons is going to figure that out pretty quickly here. I think it was a great pick for Kansas City. And whether it's the left tackle spot or the right tackle spot, he's going to be a starting tackle for many years to come. Might have to start at guard, but we'll see. I thought Simmons was a great pick for KC. Omar Norman Lott, drafted in the second round. I'll give a B+ to this. I like that they helped out the defensive line situation that needed some depth. Omar Norman Lott, though, I'll go B+. Although I liked him more than other people did, there was some that thought that it was a bit of a reach, that Kansas City drafted him maybe too high compared to what his talent worth was. And he was never a full-time starter at Tennessee. They had a ton of guys there. He was a rotational piece, but I think what fits for Kansas City is the fact he won't be asked to be a starter, at least not right away anyway. I'll go with a B+. My least favorite draft pick from Brett Veach was the selection of Ashton Gelati, the edge rusher out of Louisville. I give this one a C. His sacks were way down year to year this past season. His pressure rate stayed pretty much the same. But as John Gruden will tell you, I'm not looking for a guy to get pressures. That doesn't do much for me. I want guys that can bring the quarterback down. Ashton Gelati's got a lot of potential. He was well-liked by a lot of teams in the pre-draft process, but I think you probably could have done better than Ashton Gelati, in my humble opinion. I'll go with a C. But if that's the worst you did in the draft, I think by all means, Brett Veach did a very good job. Now, here's the million-dollar question. With everything the Chiefs did, and I believe this team is better than they were last year, do you believe this team is better than what they were last year? You got 2 options here. Type Y for yes, in for no. I'm typing Y for yes. Chime in the comments section. Tell me what you think. Let's talk more draft picks here. Let's go to Noel Williams, drafted out of Cal. 7 interceptions last year. This was maybe my favorite draft pick the Chiefs made. I'm going with an A. I think he's got a chance to compete right away for a starting role at outside corner. Extremely productive. Doesn't make sense to me why he slipped as much as he did, but I think it was a fantastic pickup for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll go A. Jalen Royals, arguably the most talked about player of the Chiefs draft class, and he's been so good and expectations are so high that he might work his way into the starting lineup immediately, despite how crowded that receiver room is. He can stretch the field vertically. He can be a good slot option as well. The guy can do it all, and there was extreme value getting him when they did in the 4th round. I'll go with an A. Jeffrey Bassa, the linebacker from Oregon, 5th-round pick. This was another head-scratcher for me of why he slipped as much as he did. He was a second-team All-Big Ten selection, very high football IQ. He's also outstanding in coverage, which is not something you can say about Nick Bolton. As much as I love Nick Bolton, Bassa should be able to come in and help out on those coverage down situations. I thought it was a terrific pickup to get him. I'll go with an A. And then the last player the Chiefs drafted, they traded up to get this guy, Brashard Smith, running back out of SMU. And I can't say enough positive things about Brashard Smith. Not only was he a good find to still be available in the 7th round, but he fits what you were looking for. He is a fast running back that has the acceleration to get upfield, offering something different than what you had in Pacheco and Hunt. He's also a terrific pass catcher, a former receiver at Miami before he was at SMU. And then on top of that, too, Brett Veach said in the pre-draft process, they were looking, if they were going to draft a running back, and they made it known they were going to draft a running back, they wanted somebody they can use on special teams. And Brashard Smith has extensive experience as a kick returner in rookie minicamp. He was already used in the punt return coverage. I thought it was a fantastic pick. I'll go with an A there. So you can see the grades, very kind to Brett Veach of the job that he did. Speaking of all those draft picks, who was your favorite draft pick the Kansas City Chiefs made? If you had to choose one player, who would it be and why? Give me your thoughts in the comment section below of who that one player is. The Chiefs entered this offseason with their backs against the wall, with not having a ton in salary cap space, with having a lot of players on expiring contracts, and Veach delivered. You think about it. You pretty much, the only impact players that you're moving on from are Joe Thuney and Justin Reed. And I think you made the most of what you could with moving on from Joe Thuney, and you don't have to pay him that money anymore. So I think that worked out well. And in the case of Justin Reed's a fine football player. Wish him nothing but the best in New Orleans. But Jaden Hicks, I think, is going to be even better than what Justin Reed was last year. So Brett Veach, he did it again. He delivered in this team. I mean, as Bill Self would say, faces change, but expectations don't. And the faces have changed. They've improved. And this team should be right back up there competing with the best of the best for another Super Bowl title in 2025. My overall grade, I'm going with an A. This was an A offseason for Brett Veach. He knocked it out of the park, and I cannot wait to see what this team does going forward from here. For continuing Chiefs coverage, subscribe now to the Kansas City Chiefs Report, youtube.com/Chiefs TV. Lock us in for free. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. Woo! That was a lot. It was. I got to catch my breath after that for a moment. We will get to our next segment as we'll get to know Brashard Smith here in just a bit. But I want to know, what was your favorite offseason move? Big Tex, we're one segment away from the mailbag. Well, I kind of catch my breath for a moment. Would you mind telling the folks how they can get involved in the mailbag segment we'll be bringing? I see Lamb like the Gardner signing. Tony like drafting Jalen Royals. Loren like drafting Josh Simmons. Those are just a few of what the chat is saying. Mailbag coming up in our next segment after this. Big Tex, tell us what people need to do to get on the mailbag segment here in just a bit.
Yeah, of course. I'm about to put in the chat for everybody for a visual explanation for y'all, but verbally, I will tell you. If you have a question about the Chiefs as it relates to the NFL or otherwise, maybe it's about someone you want them to sign in free agency, someone they drafted that you're excited about, or you have questions about their impact on the roster and the team, something like that. Use #Chiefs, a space, and then your question. Or you can put your question, a space, and then #Chiefs together. But they've all got to be together. I saw earlier someone put their question and #Chiefs as two separate comments. You can't do that because it pulls that filter as #Chiefs. So put it all together, but make sure there's just a space between your question and #Chiefs, if that makes sense. There you go.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all.
And Tony's encouraging everybody in the chat, get your questions in. The quicker you guys get your questions in, the quicker we can start that mailbag segment that will bring you coming up in just a bit. We're halfway home. Up next, we're going to talk about Brashard Smith, and then we'll do our mailbag to follow after that. Use #Chiefs or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. Up next, let's talk Brashard Smith. We'll get to know Brashard Smith a bit, go over his profile and what he's bringing to the Kansas City Chiefs, and then we'll do that mailbag. Use #Chiefs or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with our third segment. As we're talking Brashard Smith, we'll talk everything you need to know about the Chiefs rookie running back coming up here on today's show starting right now. Here we go. You're watching the Kansas City Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I am your fearless leader, Tyler Jones, here with you. Thanks for joining us. And on today's show, I'm going to tell you about a sneaky good weapon for the Kansas City Chiefs. The best player that nobody's talking about. That is Brashard Smith, the running back the Chiefs drafted in the 7th round out of SMU. This isn't just another 7th-round pick, folks. This is a guy that's got a chance to be an impact player for many years to come for the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll explain more and get to know him better coming up in just a bit. Before we do, I want to give a warm welcome to Kansas City from the Chiefs Kingdom to Brashard Smith. And let me tell you this, folks. One thing that I have noticed as I've worked at Chat Sports now for just over 3 years is that when new players join a team, people want to know what they're saying about this new player, whether that's friends or family members. Maybe it's the players themselves. And so here's what I need from the Kingdom today. I need you to like that video and show that we're supporting this guy. I need at least 1,000 likes on today's video. Who knows who may be watching? Somebody that's close to Brashard Smith. We want to extend an olive branch and show that we're here, that we're supporting him, and we want him to succeed and do great here in Kansas City. Give him a warm welcome. Hit that like button. We'll get started with today's show. The Smith profile. We will break down what Brashard Smith is bringing to the Kansas City Chiefs offense. But it's not just the offense either. More on that coming up in a moment. Let's tell you more about Smith. He began his career at Miami as a wide receiver. He was there from 2021 to 2023. And he was named a first-team All-ACC selection his last year in Miami. Then he made his way over to SMU this past season, where he had a terrific campaign playing for Clark Hunt's alma mater, the Mustangs, the Ponies, there in Dallas, as he helped lead SMU to the college football playoff this past season. And his numbers, as he switched to the running back position, it was seamless for him of what he did. Look at this, folks. In his first year as a running back at SMU, he rushed for over 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns, nearly 6 yards a carry on 235 attempts. When he was just learning the position, my friends, that's really good. Now you want to talk about his receiving stats. The receiving numbers held their own as well. Last year at SMU, out of the backfield, he accounted for 39 catches, 327 yards, 4 touchdowns, 8.4 yards a reception. Prior to that at SMU, playing the receiver role, he had 3 straight seasons with at least 119 receiving yards and 14 catches, 4 total touchdowns. He was not a bad receiver, but he was even better as a running back there with SMU this past season. His scouting report, he's a dynamic mover in space. This shouldn't surprise anybody. He's got great receiving ability. He's got good hands, folks. He's got big-time top-end speed that will add something to this Chiefs offense that we haven't seen at the running back position in a while. I love Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, but those guys are good for getting you the short yardage and getting you 3, 4, 5 yards at a time. He's going to bring another element to this Chiefs offense with that speed there. He also shows the ability to make explosive plays downfield. You have to account for him taking off and being a game breaker every single time he touches the football. But he is a bit small, at about 5'9", 5'10", and undersized. So that will be something to keep in mind there, as he doesn't have great height and weight for the position, but we've seen guys work around that before. How would you grade the pick of Brashard Smith? What do you think of this selection by the Kansas City Chiefs? It's our pinned comment today. Tell me what you think. Type A, B, C, D, or F. Give me your grade of the selection of Smith in the comments section below. Kansas City Chiefs Report is bringing you the latest happenings of your favorite team all year, all off-season long, where there is no off-season here on the channel. We bring you live shows every Tuesday, daily news and rumors, sometimes 2 and 3 videos a week. We also are talking breaking news. Anytime something happens, I could be on the road, I could be on the studio. We're bringing you a video here, and we're also doing Q&A mailbags. So the most interactive Chiefs channel around. I want to get at least 20 subs off today's video. If you love the Chiefs, this is the channel for you. You got to be subscribed. YouTube.com/Chiefs TV. Now, in the pre-draft process, GM Brett Veach was asked about what's your situation at the running back. What are you planning to do? And what Brett Veach said was that he was looking to draft a running back, potentially as early as the first round, but they were looking for somebody that could add another element beyond just the rushing game, but also in special teams. And with the pick of Smith, they got exactly what they were looking for. Brett Veach said this before the draft on the draft plans at the running back spot. The running back class is probably the deepest class in the draft, and I think you can get a really good player from round 1 through 5. Well, the Chiefs had about a 4th-round grade on Smith, and he was available in the 7th, so that worked out well. So with all these players, you're a few bad weeks away from having no depth at all. I think it's a good likelihood that one of those players ends up on our roster, and hopefully they're a dynamic returner. Well, they got that. He is a very good return specialist as well. And not to mention, with him being a good receiver, we already know that he's a good running back. It is a good mix. And the pro comp that he's been given has been to Bucky Irving. And if you've seen Bucky Irving play football, I think Chiefs fans would have to get very excited about the idea of adding a Bucky Irving type to this Kansas City Chiefs running back room. Field Yates of ESPN was very complimentary towards the selection and talked about how he could be used, saying Smith switched from wide receiver at Miami to running back at SMU, which speaks to his unique versatility that should lead to schemed touches for him in Kansas City. Smith is great after the catch and shows fantastic lateral agility and straight line speed. This is exciting. This is very exciting for the Kansas City Chiefs. And one thing to think about, too, I mentioned the pass catching thing. Andy Reid has loved running backs who can catch the football. You can go all the way back to his Philadelphia days with Brian Westbrook. Typically, we've seen under Andy Reid that he likes to use the screen and the short passing game as a substitute for the running game. And if Brashard Smith can bring that ability to the table, that could change everything for your offense and what you could do. I can't wait to see it with my own 2 eyes, or I guess 4 eyes in this case. Do you believe in Brashard Smith? Is he the right guy to get the job done for the Kansas City Chiefs? Type B for believe, D for don't. Tell us in the comments section below. Speaking of rookies, we got Chiefs rookie jerseys on sale now, whether it's Josh Simmons or somebody else out there. All you got to do is go to chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys to get yours today, and you will get the jersey with the number that they are going to wear, folks. And I can't think of a better time if you want to get a jersey of a rookie player than right now. That way you can enjoy it for their entire tenure here in Kansas City. Maybe you don't want a rookie. Maybe it's a Mahomes or a Kelsey, Chris Jones. We got those two, all at that same link, chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys to get yours today. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Looking long-term for the Kansas City Chiefs, I think it is not out of the question to say that Brashard Smith could be the future for the Kansas City Chiefs with this backfield. Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt each have expiring contracts, and they are both older, and they both have had injury issues. And we don't know for certain if Isaiah Pacheco has lost a step or not, or if it was just a result of bad offensive line play last year. I don't know. But with that said, it remains to be seen what exactly you're going to do about Pacheco and Hunt in the future. You got to start thinking about your other options here. And I think with Brashard Smith, even if, let's say, best case scenario, that Pacheco and Hunt both look really good this year, that doesn't mean that you can't find a way to use Brashard Smith. He's too good not to see the football field in some capacity, whether it's on third downs, as a receiving back, in the special teams game. He will play in some fashion in 2025. And that raw speed that he brings to the table, that he offers, that will translate to the next level. I can guarantee you that much. If you enjoyed today's show, you already know what to do. Hit that like button. We certainly would appreciate it. Show some love for Brashard Smith. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. 3 down, 1 to go. Up next, our Q&A Rumors mailbag. Grade the draft pick of Brashard Smith, A, B, C, D, or F. Let us know what your grades are. I see Jeff saying B, Paul saying A+, Kristen saying B+, Richard saying A-, Loren saying B, Mike going B. Let me know what your grades are for the Kansas City Chiefs. Chime in and let us know in the comment section what that grade is. Appreciate y'all being here with us. Mailbag coming up. Tex, how we doing on questions here? Okay. If you haven't already, go ahead and start submitting your questions to us. Hashtag Chiefs or Super Chatting to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. And you can submit your questions to us right there in the chat box. I'm going to just take a guess that we could use about 2 or 3 more questions at the very least. Okay. About 2 or 3 more questions. I'm going to put a minute on the clock. I need about 2 or 3 more, and then we can start today's show. Use Mike's second question. Yeah. I'm Mike, no offense, but that question's a little silly, asking would I rather trade Mahomes to Denver or Las Vegas. The answer is neither. Yeah, I'm not trading him to anyone, let alone those 2 teams. Jeff, Mike, okay. Yeah, okay. So we should be good. All right, let's get started with our mailbag segment. Yep. And we'll be ready to ride here, our final segment here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Appreciate you all being here with us. Keep submitting those questions. Hashtag Chiefs or Super Chatting. And, and we'll answer them here on today's show. Without further ado, our final segment here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report begins right now. It is time to touch our bags and drop our sacks on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. It is mailbag time. You got questions. You're in luck because I got answers. I've already taken a bit of a sneak peek at some of the mailbag questions. You guys are asking about some potential trades involving Kayvon Thibodeau. Also, Michael Mayer has come up. We'll answer all of those here in just a bit. Let's start with this $5 super chat from Gingerbread Man. He's a real one. He's a Seahawks fan, and yet he's still supporting us here on the Chiefs Report. You got to love that. Shout out Gingerbread Man. Spam Gingerbread Man in the comments. Could this be a regression year after getting your PP smacked in the Super Bowl? It's a very fair question to ask. I think a lot of people were wondering when the Chiefs lost the Philadelphia Eagles where this team was going to go from here, especially with all the players they had on expiring contracts and the lack of salary cap space. But Brett Veach made it work, and this team is better than what they were a season ago. Now, some of the teams around them have also gotten better as well, but I would be surprised, barring a catastrophic injury to like a Patrick Mahomes or a Chris Jones or something like that, this team is going to be better, and they're going to be the Super Bowl favorites in 2025. And you guys know I'm always honest with you. We keep it 100 around here. I'm not saying this just to make any of you all feel better. I have every reason to think that this Kansas City Chiefs team is here to compete at the highest level and that they can go out there and win the Super Bowl again. No, this is not going to be a regression year for the Chiefs. Folks, want to make sure not only you're subscribed, but you're also a part of the Noti gang. Those are the folks that have their notifications turned on. They're the first to know when we have new content here on the channel, from our daily news and rumors to the live shows we do on Tuesdays. This is where we answer the questions you guys are submitting to us, and we react to them in real time. So maybe you want to be a part of our next mailbag segment next Tuesday. Well, subscribe and turn on notifications. That way you're alerted when we have new content here on the channel. Doesn't cost you a thing. 100% free. Let's get at least 20 subs and 20 people to join the Nota Gang. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV to subscribe now. Turn on those notifications. If you're part of the Nota Gang, spam Nota Gang in the comments section, and we'll continue with today's show. Casey fans, our best writes in, could the Chiefs trade for Kayvon Thibodeau of the New York Football Giants? So, funny enough, I was asking friend of the show, Marshall Green, who hosts our Giants channel, what's the likelihood that the Giants trade Kayvon? And from what Marsh was telling me, he doesn't seem to think it's too likely because they've picked up his fifth-year option, and they did so before the draft, although there were some rumblings that he was being shopped. I think if you're the Giants, they're kind of wanting to see what they have with Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence and Kayvon and Abdul Carter, who they just drafted there. I think it's unlikely that the Giants move on from Kayvon. But if they do, I think the Chiefs should come running to the phone at the opportunity here. I think he had a very good season in 2023. I also would argue that he hasn't been put in the best of situations to succeed. I know that there's been some character concerns, but as we've said before, when you come to Kansas City, you know that you got to be all in, and then you got to put your ego aside. And if Kayvon is willing to do that, I think he could compete at a high level, and he could be very successful here. If they are willing to trade him, by all means, they should give the New York Giants a call. Should the Chiefs trade for Kayvon Thibodeau? It's our pinned comment today. Your chance to be the GM. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let us know what you think. Type T for trade, P for pass. Tell me in the comments section below. Mike says, how many UDFAs make the roster? Oof. It's not looking great for the UDFAs. I can tell you that much right now, that the UDFAs are in a tough spot when it comes to their chances at making the roster for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think Esa Pohl, he might have the best chance playing on the offensive line out of Washington State. He's a name I would keep an eye on. But honestly, that might be it. It doesn't look good. And that's fine. That means the Chiefs have quality players on their roster. They shouldn't have to be relying on UDFAs to fill up their final roster spots. Now, with that said, you could have a number of them make the practice squad. I think another name, I almost forgot about him, Jake Brenningstool, the tight end from Clemson. I think there's a pretty decent chance he could be your number 4 tight end. But outside of Pohl and Brenningstool, it's going to be very tough for any UDFAs to make the roster. Maybe 1, maybe 2, and that's fine if you're the Kansas City Chiefs as far as that goes. And in the case of Pohl and Brenningstool, those were guys that should have been drafted, that should have been picked. So if they make the roster, more power to them. It's not an indictment on your talent level if those guys make it. Now, more than that, you might actually be concerned. But 1 or 2, I think, have a realistic chance at this point. And maybe they don't make the roster initially. Maybe they start on the practice squad and get a promotion potentially down the line. Poor Chiefsaholic. Sad news for Chiefsaholic this week. 34 years in prison. And to my knowledge, there's no parole as well for Chiefsaholic. The guy just wanted to see his favorite team play. I mean, some of us are just built different, you know? Chiefsaholic, I will say, why'd you have to do it in my hometown of Tulsa? All right? Look, my mother, she went to high school in Sand Springs, Oklahoma. Shout out Sand Springs, Charles Page High School. And she graduated with a judge that makes a lot of these decisions in Oklahoma of how long people go to jail and all this. Her friend was the one who ultimately sentenced Joe Exotic to his long sentencing, and he's still not out, and he's been trying to get a pardon and all that. I'll say this, Chiefsaholic, you don't want to be hanging out in an Oklahoma prison. It's not a good place to be. So, Chiefsaholic, it was a good run. I hope you enjoyed it while you last. When Chiefsaholic eventually does get out of prison, maybe he's going to bang the drum to open up a game and come back with a vengeance. Hopefully nobody gets robbed again, but we'll see. So, aside from that, the question that poor Chiefsaholic writes in, could Kansas City trade for Michael Mayer? I think Michael Mayer is better than what his numbers have shown. And last year, he was kind of put in a tough spot because Brock Bowers, a generational tight end, showed up and took a lot of reps away from him. I have not given up on Michael Mayer yet. I still think he's got potential to be a solid tight end in this league. I find it to be hard-pressed, though, that the Raiders would want to do business with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, maybe they've given up on Mayer, and they're like, hey, we'll take the Chiefs draft pick away, a 6th or 7th round pick. But if they're willing to do business, I would be all ears on bringing Michael Mayer in and adding depth to the tight end spot. But it's not something you have to do. I know everybody's talked about preparing for the long-term future after Kelsey and all that at the tight end spot. But you still got Kelsey right now. You got Noah Gray there. Jared Wiley, I think, has a chance to be really good. We mentioned Brenningstool earlier. You're fine for the tight end spot for now. It's the future that you're concerned about. So I wouldn't rule it out, but I wouldn't say that it's very likely that they trade for him either. Should the Chiefs trade for Michael Mayer? Your chance to sound off in the comment section. Give us your thoughts. Type Y for yes, in for no. Chime in. Tell me what you think. Tony, you're in the mailbag. Do not yell at me in my DMs. Got it? Okay. Tyler, I'm excited about this year's schedule. We got another Christmas Day game versus Denver week 1 versus the Chargers. I'm excited. Tony, I'm glad you're excited. I'm not too thrilled about having to work on Christmas night. That's not ideal, but I understand the Chiefs want to play all the marquee games, the international games, the holiday games. They want to start this Christmas tradition. I don't blame them at all from the Chiefs' perspective of wanting to play on Christmas and wanting to play internationally. Internationally, I think that it works out pretty well that you're playing the LA Chargers and not having to sacrifice a home game. I am concerned about the turf situation in Brazil. We've seen in the past that the field conditions are not great for these international games, so hopefully nobody breaks an ankle or anything like that. But I like the Chargers game in Brazil. The Christmas Day game, selfishly, I wish I didn't have to work, but I think it's a great tradition. And if you're going to play on Christmas, you'd rather play the primetime game. That way you can get all your Christmas activities out of the way on Christmas Eve and Christmas morning and all that. So I think it's a good spot for the Kansas City Chiefs. Richard writes in. Richard, do they call you Dick? With all of our offseason acquisitions on offense and defense, I think we'll be top 5 in both categories. What are your thoughts? Not impossible. I would be surprised if they were in both, because usually to be top 5 in one of them, you got to give up something on the other. If the offense is scoring 35 and 40 points a game, which would be great, that probably means they're going to be giving up 20, 25, 30 points a game. So that doesn't really work. You got to play complementary football to be successful at your best. I think having a top 5 offense is more likely than having a top 5 defense, but it's not impossible. But I think just with the schematics of how it all would come together, it would be difficult, but I think both sides of the ball are going to be really good. Last question, Loren writes in, #Chiefs. Does this year's roster maybe have what it takes to bring back the explosiveness in plays like a few years ago? So, twofold answer on this, Loren. Number one, it's not necessarily about the roster, okay? Because defenses have adjusted. They've played the 2 and 3 high safeties to try to take away the vertical passing game so they don't get beat over the top by Patrick Mahomes. But part of it also had to do with that your receiving core wasn't as good the last few years since you moved on from Tyreek Hill. So my answer to that, Loren, is yes, you should see more of the vertical passing game, but I wouldn't expect it to be as much as it was in the Tyreek Hill era, but it will be more than what you've seen lately. I think that's a reasonable expectation. For continuing Chiefs coverage, subscribe now to the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. we will get out of here. Appreciate y'all joining us. More coverage to come on the channel throughout the week. We'll have a full breakdown of the schedule tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And keep it plugged in right here, the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Big Tex, I'm Tyler Jones. Have a great night, everybody. So long.